All right, all right, all right. First things first, welcome to this live, everyone. But you know what I got to do. I got to make sure all platforms are working. All right, I got to make sure we live on Instagram, which looks great. Got to make sure we doing well on LinkedIn. Let me check real quick. Hold up, hold up. That looks good. Okay, okay. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to make sure y'all can hear and see me and see our special guests as well. So if you're on this live, please, if you can, put a LU in the chat. I just want to make sure because we've been having some technical difficulties lately, y'all. This mic and camera just been getting on my nerves over the last couple of weeks, right? So we're trying to get it right. But nevertheless, we here to give you so much value. We want to make sure you come with a certain mindset that you have now, but you leave with a new one. And today, I have a special guest, a gentleman who went from a pastor, probably, I think he's still a pastor, to well, it's not a pastor anymore. Went from a pastor to a cloud operations engineer, no technical background at all. And he's here to share his story, share his mindset, and give you some value of what you need to do if you're coming from a non-technical background just like he did. Okay, I see the LUs in the chat. Okay, great. So with all listen, this gentleman just killed the program when he came through, killed everything that we gave him. And right now, I just want him to just give the gems. All right. So if y'all ready for the gems, put the gems in the chat. I see the LUs. Put the gems in the chat before I start because I'm super excited right now. But I want y'all to give it up for my special guest right now, Brett Dykes. What's up, big dog? Thank you for joining me, man.
Yeah, thanks, brothers, for having me. Hello, everybody.
So put the BDs in the chat too. I'm giving y'all certain instructions. Gems and the BDs in the chat. All right. So Facebook, if you can hear me, LinkedIn, if you're good, Instagram, if you're good. You ready to dive in, Brett? Because I know they want to learn about your story, brother.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So let's talk about before you found cloud, right? What did you think tech looked like in your mind? And really how did that perception change when you started learning it?
Yeah, I had a lot of friends in tech, so I think I had a level of an insider scoop on what it could look like. Most of them, though, were in the sales side of tech, so that didn't really help me
Okay.
for what I wanted to do. But I think really when I thought of what I was going to do in tech, it was like, oh, it's all development. I'm going to be sitting behind a computer. I'm going to be hard coding everything. I have to know Python like the back of my hand, or C, who knows, something. So it was pretty daunting, when I was like, I don't know what I don't know, and what I didn't know was a lot, and I still don't. But yeah, that's kind of where I came from. uh, but yeah, when I started learning it, I think I think the main word that comes to my mind is how tangible it was.
Mm.
The world runs on tech. It's everything. I think there's like a famous quote, like the world runs on ones and zeros, and it's so true. But I guess I didn't realize just how tangible where someone like me coming from does it really get more opposite, of a background, could pick this up and pretty quickly, I might add, and really enjoy it and love it. So, yeah, tangible.
So I think this is my story too, because even though like before I got into tech, before I got into cloud, I mean, obviously I knew there was a tech industry, but I always thought it was like people sitting in dark rooms just coding.
Yeah, server rooms and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like they have there's no lights, they just have their laptops, they're building applications from scratch. And yes, there are some people who do that, right? But I thought everyone did that. And as we started to work with more people, we just see the same thing, right? Across the board. Because now everyone is afraid of coding. Like I get this in my inbox all the time where, hey, I just don't want to mess with code, man. They rather do something else completely different than their goal when they find out that it could involve working with a little code.
yeah.
So if that's y'all, put your hands up in the chat. I want to see how many people in here that have the mindset or had the mindset of, I just didn't want to mess with code. And the crazy thing about it is, Brett, like it's so many tools out here right now that allows you to vibe code and really just get an understanding of how to do it, how to read it, how to build things, and it's no stress to you at all.
Right.
It literally breaks the building blocks down like you were 5 years old.
Hmm.
So, hey, look, I know I'm not the only one, and Brett is not the only one that feel that way.
Yep. Hmm.
Put them hands up in the chat. I want to see those hands up because we get this all the time with people just being afraid, and it's okay. Somebody said nope. On the code. Hey, that's the attitude to have. Seriously. But some people are just super afraid. So, okay, was there ever a moment where you seriously questioned whether this was going to work for you, and what did you do in that moment?
Yeah, every night, literally every night. It was like, oh, what did I do? I just spent a bunch of money. This is gonna be a waste, because like I felt stupid at first, because like I said, I thought I was gonna be coding those one and zeros, and yeah, but I guess I think it helped a lot hearing from the coaches, but also just other people I knew in tech who were like, the imposter syndrome is never going to leave you. Like, there's always going to be someone smarter, someone better. But I think the cool thing, at least that I've experienced, is like the large majority of people want to help, and because they know that they've been there too. So it was a combination of that, and then also just I don't know, determination that I was like, I remember me and my cohort, we had a group project. And at the end of it, I think we were actually, ironically enough, going through Python at the time,
Mhm.
which brought us, you have a whiz of a coder who coaches Python for you.
Yeah,
Um,
he is.
he's the real deal. But we were like, how are we going to reach his level? Like, and we weren't, right? But we were all kind of going like, man, this is tough. Like it's slower to pick up. Um, and one of them, I don't remember who it was kind of like, man, like, what are you going to do if it doesn't work? And I just remember saying to them, like, I'm like, it has to work. Like, it's going to
Mm,
work because it has to work.
mm.
Like, I'm doing this for my daughter. I'm doing this for my family. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to put in the work, and I'm going to make sure that I do everything I can to come out on top. And it paid off. So,
So this always reminds me to say this quote that I was talking to a friend of mine. His name is Musa Khalid, and Musa is a engineer at Netflix, and I was just talking to you about Netflix before,
mhm.
and he said this quote that I always want to say to every live because it sticks with me every day. He said that you can be in the right place at the right time, and that's okay, and
Mhm.
you can be in the right place at the wrong time, and that's okay too. But
Mhm.
the more you work, you increase your chances of being in the right place at the right time.
100%.
So when you said it has to work, to me, that mindset was more of regardless of what I think, if I continue to work, I will increase my chances of being in the right place
Yeah.
at the right time.
Yeah.
And that's the mindset that you have to have because I'm going to say something that maybe a lot of people don't say. And maybe we've done a bad job of saying on these platforms, but getting into tech mentally is hard. It's super hard. And I'm going to tell you why because we are our own worst enemy.
Mhm.
So we will allow our brain to continue to tell us things that may not be true, but they feel real. And at the time when life is lifing, certain things going on, you feel like you have no choice but to bow out because this is not for you, right? You've been trying to, you don't get this concept. This is super confusing and you're not grasping it in the amount of time that you've given yourself. But the thing is this, you look at other people, like you said, with Zaire, shout out to Zaire, who's the code whiz that he was talking about, who is a head coach in our program. You said, man, we would never get to this level. At that moment, you obviously you won't. But as you keep learning, as you continue to grow, maybe you'll surpass this level.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
Possible.
saying? The
Mhm.
only thing is what we have to understand in this industry, if you choose to go down it, and I'm talking to everyone that's on this live right now, you have to understand this is a lifelong learning journey. You're not going to be an expert 6 months. You're not going to be an expert in a year, right? The expertise or being an expert comes from being exposed to a lot of different things. And you just have to allow yourself to go through that exposure. Um, I'm sorry that I always get on these lives and I want to preach, but I,
You're in good company.
I just want people to really see that even though it's tough, right? Like losing weight is tough. Getting in the gym, getting in shape is tough. But guess what? If you want to do it, it's nothing that's going to stop you from losing weight. If the doctor told you, well, some of us, if the doctor told some of us that if we don't lose this weight, we're gonna die in 30 days. Guess what? You'll be in the gym, eating right. You'll probably fast. You'll probably go on a whole food plant-based diet. You won't eat any meat, anything, just so you can lose the weight. So we need to take our career in consideration when we do that because we don't go to work for free. And we know money can change a lot of things in our lives, right? Can give us more opportunity, all of that. So why not take that same mind frame and push through in the career? All right. So give me thumbs up if y'all on that track. Like, regardless of what you think, you're gonna push through until you reach the goal. Give me the thumbs up. All right. So what did you used to believe about a career change or let's say high paying roles in tech as you was talking to your friends that you now know is false?
Yeah, there was a lot, but I think the number one thing, and it kind of goes back to what you said, I'm my own worst enemy, and I think that's true of everybody else. But that was very real, and so I kept telling myself like this is probably unobtainable because I had felt for a while. I had been in ministry for a long time. That was my career, and was had measured success doing that, and I was good at it, and I was well loved while I was doing that, and but the logistics of like money and debt and medical debt and what I want to provide for my daughter and what I want to be able to provide for my wife and my family around me, it came to a head where it was like, okay, something's got to change. And so I had felt that for a while, but the thing that kept me from taking action on that was just like, yeah, it's not gonna happen to me though. It's unobtainable, right? um I'm a very logical person. I think very quick. Call it ADHD, call it whatever, but my brain is constantly firing, and which makes a really good pastor of students, by the way, when you're up on stage. But I would believe every logical excuse that would come to my brain of why I won't be able to make it work because Lewitt and Cloud is not the only. I did free code camp. I did Salesforce admin, and free code camp. It was like, okay, I got to the end of that. Like, okay, now what? I think my excuse was the market was saturated. Everybody wants to be able to design websites, and you can design your own for free, basically, with various websites. And then for Salesforce, it was the layoffs that they had. Like, oh, the Ohana's on fire, can't do that. But Lewitt, was kind of the real like tangible, like, okay, now I'm finally in a program that's going to, and people have gone before me who I know. And that was a big deal for me. So yeah.
I think we all go through this, man, like logically thinking, because for a lot of us, we don't see like when I come from a rural town in Virginia, man. Like in high school, the closest thing we got to learning tech was keyboarding class. You know what I'm saying? And this is when they just, hey, can you type 40 words, 50 words per minute? All right. That's
Mhm.
I never knew anything else outside of that. So even though we know there's a tech industry, and I knew there was a tech industry, I didn't know anyone that could be successful in it or make life-changing money or just have life-changing opportunities. So it's plenty of people that feel the same way. I think the game changer for me was just really I had to make the decision that I wasn't going to listen to myself. You know what I'm saying? Like If you get me, you get me. Put your hands up in the chat if you get me. I had to make the decision that I wasn't going to listen to what my brain told me. I was going to ride this thing out until God told me that was enough. This is as far as you go. This is not for you. But I felt in my heart and in my mind, if God put it in my heart and my mind, He gave me the tools and resources around me to be successful. Because logically or spiritually or energetically, if that's what I want to say, I believe that if there's a problem, there's always a solution. The universe has to balance. And if God put problems there, is to help you grow. Like, hey, I have this roadblock that I'm trying to get into tech, but I just can't get past this project. Okay, it's a tool that you could go through. You have to grow through it as well. Some people use it as a roadblock and an excuse to quit. It's a project and they quit just off a project. Some people have life events that happen while they're on their path to becoming great. It's just tests. You can't have a testimony without a test.
Mm-hmm.
And these things are for you to grow through. So if you're thinking to yourself now that logically you can't do this because you don't have anyone in your family that's been through this, you don't feel like you're that smart. And I'm here to tell you, tech is full of smart people, but you don't have to start smart. You end smart. You learn.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they became smart. They didn't just get in this and say, "Oh, I know everything about infrastructure, app development, machine learning, AI. I know everything." No, they expose themselves to so much that they just start to retain it, and it's over and over and over. Thank you, Justice. Justin said, "This is why I can feel what Brothers is saying." Yeah. So Brett said the same thing. I'm just reiterating what he said. You're your own worst enemy. You feel logically that you can't do it, but you just have to push through. And you realize that's a false sense of reality that you're giving yourself. Or I can't do it. I want to quit. And really, the success is right behind that door.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, man, if someone's watching right now thinking like I'm too late or I don't have a tech background, what would you say directly to them?
So what? Like, so what? If you don't have a tech background, same. I was a pastor. I at a very large church, and I was, pastoring people, pastoring students, pastoring families, pastoring adults, helping them, and that was hard. I would say that's harder than what I'm doing now in tech by a million miles. And as far as the whole like I'm too late, it's not true. This is a great time to get into tech or to get into cloud, but tech is the future. I mean, we look at AI. I mean, this is another new generational advancement that
Yeah,
is going to change everything. Back in the day, it was like the calculator and like, oh, well, now we don't need to do long division. It's like, thank God, but like people
yeah,
got better at
yeah,
math because of the calculator. iPhone and social media changed everything. I have my own complaints on what that did to people and society, but it changed everything. And AI is going to do the same thing. And so, like, get in now. Like, the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time to start is today. I didn't quote that; someone else did, but it's a good quote. So, yeah.
yeah, man. I think AI is going to eventually force everyone to use tech. Like right now, even if you're in the most hands-on job, like a laborer and with a carpenter, you're doing labor work, building homes or whatever. Even you are going to have to use some form of tech tool to start doing your work sooner or later, right?
Yep.
Whether it's to help you individually or to help be more efficient and help the team be more efficient into building what they're building or doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And the the saying always is right now, AI is going to replace me and take my job. AI is not going to replace you and take your job. The person who uses AI is going to replace you and take your job.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So whatever you can do. So for instance, and I hope she's not watching because she'll be mad at me, but my mom had a interview and I hope I'm not telling on her, but she had an interview somewhere, and she was like, "I just been trying to look up on Google, like, this role and like this company. I just can't find anything, and I just don't know what they're gonna ask me in an interview." And I was like, "Hey, have you heard of this thing called Chat GPT? Like, you haven't? Okay, so this is how you use it. And it gave her all the answers she needed to be successful in the interview.
Hmm.
So these things you could just literally use to speed up the efficiency in your home life,
Yep.
your career, and guess what? You're using a tool of AI, and you pushing yourself to the next level. Like, if you have a business, how can you use this to be more efficient, to get more customers, to, oh, I don't understand the numbers in my business. Can I see if I'm profitable? Okay,
Yep.
use that. It's so many things that you can use on a day-to-day basis that it's no excuse. And eventually you're going to be forced to use it. So just make
Yep.
up your mind now that you're not going to be scared of it, because it's not going to bite you. It's
Yeah.
only going to help. Once you realize what it can do, this is your face. That's your face
100%.
when you
Yeah.
realize what it can do.
Yeah. It's crazy. I want to. Can I speak to something you said?
Yeah, yeah.
You were talking about, like, you're carpenter and stuff like that. I actually had that thought of, like, I don't have a tech background, or I'm too late and stuff like that. I often think about people who think that they're not smart enough, or they don't have the technical aptitude to do something like cloud, right? And I'm
Mhm.
like, if you can solve problems, you have what it takes. That's it. Like, I know people who failed out of, like, school. I used to work at a car shop. I was a detailer, and there would be guys who, like, on tests, like, they were the dumbest guy in the class, but they can take apart an engine and put it back together. They can fix your
Hands
car
on.
like crazy.
Absolutely.
They have what it takes, right? I know. My wife is the man of the house when it comes to fixing things. I am terrible with tools. Like, I never had that kind of aptitude or care, and I am terrible. I don't care. I don't want to do that, right? Take my man card if you want. I can grow a beard, so it doesn't matter. But um, I know people who are way better at that than I am, and they could totally do what I do. It's just different, right?
Yep.
So I don't know. There's not really a whole lot of people who can't do this. It just
No.
depends on what you want to do and
Yep.
if you want to put in the work. So
Yep. So the tech can be learned, y'all. Anything in tech, you can learn it. They have documentation, millions of pages, probably billions of pages of documentation that you can learn any tech tool that's out there. You can read about it, you can do it, you can build something with it. You know what tech is about? Tech is about this. You can solve problems, but you're so busy telling yourself that you can't that you won't even try, right? You can be successful and land a great paying role, but you're so busy telling yourself that you're not going to be able to do it that you're stopping yourself from taking the first step. You could do anything in tech that you want. If listen, and I know people say this all the time, but I have to come to the fact, and I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying, because I still don't believe this and I still don't think this, but I have to come to the fact that a lot of people look at me as a thought leader in this industry, even though I don't feel like it, right? But if you told me back in 2016 that I was going to be a thought leader in an industry that I didn't even think about getting in, and I didn't even think I was I didn't think I was smart enough to do, I would have looked at you and told you that you was crazy. I'm trying to be a manager at a bank. Like, I'm trying to make manager, man. I'm just, I'm a branch banker 3 right now. So if I get the branch banker 4 and be assistant manager, and then I get the manager, I'll probably be about 60. I'm fine. I'm doing all right.
yeah,
That- That's the mindset. And there's nothing wrong with someone who wants to do that. But if you want to get into tech, that is God giving you the vision, that where you supposed, if you got that urge, that's the vision. But guess what? It is not going to come easy, because the things that you are going to go through is the exact things that you need to build yourself into the cloud engineer, the network engineer, the cybersecurity engineer, or whatever, the analyst or whatever that you need to become. And that is just that. If you don't go through these things, you won't become it. I'm here to just give you that message. All right. So Kendra said, you don't have to be Einstein to know tech. You don't have to be right in problem solving. As long as you help solve a piece of the puzzle that leads to a positive outcome, that's what matters. Exactly. Contribute. So thank you for saying that, Kendra. So let's dive into some insights while you were on your journey, man. What was one habit or system you developed that really helped you stay consistent in the program?
Yeah. There's a lot. I guess my first answer is consistency in and of itself is what helped me stay in the program and developing that habit. But to get more specific, because I know that's kind of a cop out answer, I would say like I just knew I discussed it with my wife. Um, like I'm gonna devote a couple, 2 to 3, sometimes even more, depends on what I was working on, hours a night. Mind you, we just had our first kid
Mm.
when I started Lewitt. Like I was a new dad, not
Mm.
sleeping, and I still every single night did not skip. I watched the course material. I worked on my projects, but I think that the number one thing that helped the most. This is a very small habit, but it was pivotal for me. Is I wanted to understand the why. If it's one thing to learn about EC2 instances or S3 or Lambda or whatever, but when I started asking, like, why do I need to know this? Like, what's the business use case of the project I'm building? Which, by the way, Level Up in Tech does a great job of telling you that. But I needed to like hear it in my own words. That's when everything started to change, because I knew like I can learn the intricacies of, how much storage I'm going to need or how much compute power I'm going to need to solve X, right?
Right.
But if I understand why I need that instance in the first place, that's a lot easier for my brain to go like, let me attach that information you just read somewhere. So yeah, long-winded answer, but
So always be curious. That's what you're saying. Period.
yeah,
Just
yep,
understand how it affects the business. So this is what I will add to it. A lot of you are applying to roles and you don't even like you see the role, you see some qualifications and you say, "Oh, I could do that." And you apply. And then let's say you get an interview and you don't even know what the company does. Like you don't even know how your role or what you're using solves the business use case. So here's the tip. I've just been putting this tip out over the last week. If you want to understand the internal things that's going on in the business that they allow you to see before you get into a interview or whatever, just type in the company name and just type in GitHub. So like if you interviewing at SHI, type in SHI GitHub. If you interviewing at Nike, type Nike GitHub. And it would introduce you to a lot of tools that they use internally and even third party tools that it will show you the business use cases they're using those tools to solve. So not only now you get to learn the why, you get to learn the stack, which is the tech that they use. You get to learn the code, like how this code works, what is it supposed to do. And guess what? You get to fork that repo and you get to redesign it and deploy it and see if it works for you.
mm-hmm.
And that way now you're giving yourself an extra boost to understand the why. And when you get into an interview and they talk about have you used this, you can talk about the internal tools that they use that you already use. So now it's almost like you being a part of their team. So I just want to give y'all that gem. All right. So keep that in your pocket, whip that
That is
out
a
when you
gem.
yeah. So whip it out. So now that you got the job, right? Can you walk us through like what a cloud ops specialist actually does and how does that compare
Yeah.
to what you thought the job would be?
Yeah. Yeah. So how do I make this concise? I guess I should preface, this, Broadus, but is I'm at a startup, a very small startup. So I'm wearing a lot of hats, that's my title, but I'm kind of helping build what my role is too.
Mm,
Um, but as of now, we're basically an AWS partner company, sort of a consulting company. But basically, someone comes to AWS and they're like, "Hey, like we have this business problem that we think AWS might be able to solve." AWS builds it. It's companies like us that help, or they design the like back end of everything. We're the ones who like help build the actual environment. And so a company might say like, "Hey, we have this on-premise infrastructure that we want to migrate over to the cloud. We do that. Um, uh, the number one thing that I help do is what we call care and feeding. So it's right now, it's typically businesses who either are kind of hybrid in the cloud or they already have some form of cloud infrastructure,
Mhm.
but they want to make it more secure. They want to save money, or they just want to like get a consultant's advice on like what should we do now, or we just today I was working on a project where they need to build out a development environment, and so me and my CTO were sitting next to each other building it live. So it could be different every day. It's very hands-on, very building it. But I think the other side of it is I'm customer facing. I'm not just behind a computer. As much as I love Terraform, I geek out on Terraform. I have to be able to talk to people and explain it. And so tomorrow I'm going to sit in front of the director of engineering for this company and explain to them like, hey, we built out a load balancer that speaks to this, that speaks to that. I'm not going to go through everything.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so that's in a nutshell. It's 3 weeks, almost a month in, and I've done a lot. It's a lot of fun, I will say. So that's kind of what I do.
That's awesome, man. A month in and you're already doing that stuff, right? So think about this. Like, I just want everybody to stop here and just really understand what this looked like. Like a year ago, this wasn't even like he was just looking at his friends, talking to his friends who were in tech sales. You see what I'm saying? Like just tech sales, nothing cloud, nothing about being a operations specialist, nothing about working and putting on many hats, working with many services and tools. And right now, he has learned a ton. And depending on the job that you get, you may be in the same position. You may be a person who's operating as a consultant and has to touch a lot because you're dealing with customers who are touching a lot or different customers. You may be in a position where sometimes, right, you'll get into a role and they tell you all the amazing things that you'll do, only for you to not do those amazing things. And you'll just be in meetings and you'll just be working on ad hoc tasks at times. And unfortunately, you don't learn it much, but those roles allow you to do other things where you can continue to push yourself to learn and you can still get paid to do that, right? But it just depends on the company that you work for, that depends on the work that you do. And I like to do the type of work that, bro, I like to touch a lot. I like to learn a lot because it feels like now, I have so many things in my back pocket that I can pull out and I can help companies with. So if you like me, if you like Brett, raise your hand, put your hands up in the chat because you could do that now. Once again, let me give y'all that tip. If you want to feel like that you're working with several different customers and you're touching a lot of things, just line up 10 companies, put their GitHub, hey, Nike GitHub, SHI GitHub, Netflix GitHub, Meta GitHub, whatever startup companies as well, right? They have public repos. Most of them do. Find a repo, learn it, take a week, deploy this thing, move over to the next. Document your findings, your studies, and document how you made it work and how, what errors and roadblocks you went through. In over an amount of 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, you gonna be like, yo, I touched a lot of things and I know a lot. And when you get into interviews, you're not gonna be afraid to talk about what you know, and they're gonna be amazed because some of these things they're not gonna even know because they don't know about Nike's internal service that they put in a public repo for you to learn. They don't know about Meta's internal service, etc. Or they don't know how, Netflix created their own caching system, the CDN, and how that works. They don't know anything like that.
Yep.
So push yourself. That's all I'm gonna tell you. What see, Haji said, for example, LUIT has given me the confidence to go into interviews to showcase my current projects. Thank you. Appreciate that. Because this is the whole goal of this is for you to be in a position to talk to us like Brett is. He's 30, less or more than a month in, and he's been killing it. So I know I've been preaching, man. I know I've been talking, so I apologize, brother. And I apologize to y'all because I just want to give y'all that
No, it's
information.
good. It's good
You know.
stuff. It's great stuff.
So, okay, what helped you the most when it came to really getting those interviews? Since Alhaji just brought it up, what was it the projects or the coaching, the community? What do you think kind of impressed those people at the startup that you work in now?
Yeah, I think this is key in my journey. This is the thing that, I've connected with a lot of people over LinkedIn, many of whom I don't know, but I just wanted to connect with as many people in the cloud and the tech industry as I could. And I think this is probably the thing that I see most people need to realize who, aren't in it yet. Like they're striving to be. And it's that soft skills, um,
Mm,
and your documentation is so important. It is That's what got me the job. I mean, really, there's 30,000 people behind me who could do what I'm doing right now, right? But it was my CTO literally said this, and I hope you guys don't think I'm tooting my own horn, but he said, I
shoot it, man.
like you're likable, right? Your attention to detail, like your documentation was incredible. He said, like the way you designed it, the way you formatted it. I mean, the work that this is something that not everybody has, but I have a graphic design background because of ministry. I had to teach
Mm,
myself a lot of stuff in ministry because no one else was going to do it. And I wanted it to look good. So I learned to make things look nice. And so I had a style and I added that to, you can look on my portfolio on my LinkedIn. Every single one of my projects has a like non-AI crafted, graphically designed cover because I wanted that. And it has a nice little photo of me on there so someone couldn't steal my work. But I just put a lot of work into my, not only my projects, but my documentation of my projects. And I think, unfortunately, I think a lot of people sleep on that.
mm.
I love AI. We were just talking about that, but I think be very careful on what you use AI for because it is so powerful. But man, I got to say, when I see someone, and I hope I'm not stepping on any toes in the chat because I'm sure people are in the chat who have done this. That's okay. But here's a gem. Here's a gem from Brett. Is be careful of how often you use AI when writing your documentation and designing a photo for your documentation. Because when I see anything out there and it's so clearly designed by AI, it makes me question like how original and authentic the content in whatever it is. And I know
Right.
that's not always fair, but I just think you got to be careful because um, that soft skills and networking is what kind of got me in the door, right? And it was kind of that luck, right, Brodus? We talked about that early in the call. I was in the right place in the right time, talked to the right person. But if had I not had great documentation and an ability to relate and speak to my projects and just be a likable person, not hiding behind a computer, I wouldn't have gotten the job, right?
Mm.
Um, and so yeah, those are the things that my boss, the CTO, pointed out to me on because I asked him, I was like, why me? Like, what made you think that I was a good fit for the role? And he was like, those things, So I could go on for hours about it because I think it's really important.
So what you basically told me from the graphic design part, and this is what I get out of it, is you created your own brand. So even back
Yes.
from when
Yep.
you were a pastor, you had that brand. So you brought those brand assets over to your projects to
Mm-hmm.
make yourself stand out. And that's exactly like he used his creativity and what he already knew how to do. So like some of you know how to do that stuff. Some of you are great at just creating photos on Canva. You have a palette, you have a color palette that you always use in a certain way. Like I do that as well when I create my designs for YouTube lives, etc. Bring that over to your projects. That makes you stand out.
Your mic's doing that thing, Brodus.
I said my
It's
mic's doing
back. You're back. I think you just need a pause when it does that. Sorry.
no.
Continue.
Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it. So here's the thing. Uh, a lot of us right now are scared to even just put ourselves out there. So number one, you got to put yourself out there, right? You gotta if you're documenting your work, just put it out. No one's gonna laugh at you. No one's gonna come back and say, "How dare you put that stupid work out there?" Like no one's gonna do that. Like just get that out your mind. Like they'll make themselves look bad if they do, and the community will go against them.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, what you fail to realize is a lot of companies lack technical documentation. So if they see that you have the ability to create documentation, this is like an asset in itself.
Yes.
That's a skill in itself. If you look on the job description, companies will literally list be able to create technical documentation. That
Mhm.
is a skill, and it could be in the top 3 to 4 bullets on the job description.
Yep.
So keep practicing with that, right? I know it's tedious, I know it's time consuming, but keep practicing with it and building it. And if you're going to use AI, just check your work and make sure it's your own voice. Because
Yes.
like I can literally spot an AI generated post just like that, especially if you don't make it your own voice, right? We can obviously easily spot a AI generated photo, right? Some people are putting photos on their documentation or photos on their profile that is spelling things in a different language or even just
Yes.
like smudgy language where you can't even read. We know
Oh
that's
man.
ChatGPT, like,
Yeah. Yep.
so just if you can't design, just use Canva. Like Canva has so many templates that you can use to just create a simple design, even if it's, not really hitting on the vision that you had, but it's yours, right? It's not
Yep.
AI generated.
One
Um,
one example is like you have a coach, Tate. I'm gonna shout out Tate.
yep. Say,
His documentation isn't as like artfully crafted as mine. He just had some simple text that he found some typography he liked, which just means basically a font.
mhm,
And he just like S3 uh, static website, and he just used some different colors and it made it his own brand. You don't have to be a graphic designer
yep.
at
At all.
all. You
I
just
mean,
have
you
to
have,
put in effort
yep.
and have a brand because
And
that will make you stand out.
you have services like Canva that can help you. Now I see
Yeah.
people that say my mic drop as well. Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all see me now? Put your hands up, put thumbs up, yes or whatever. I want to make sure y'all able to hear me or see me. I don't want y'all to be looking at something. I'm going like so.
Or maybe they were just shouting out the gems you were putting out.
So the last thing I'll say about this is push yourself to the next level. Just create the documentation. Even if you feel like you don't know anything, you're actually showcasing your ability to be uncomfortable. And for all of that, that's where some companies just want someone who can push themselves out of their comfort zone and can solve problems. That's it.
Yep.
All right. So, all right, last couple of questions for you. Uh, when did it click for you that you were ready to really go all in and make this happen, bro?
Oh man, to be honest with you, I don't know that I had a moment where I was like, I'm ready. It was nearing the, kind of the latter end of the program. We were just starting with infrastructure as code, which is my favorite thing. I love infrastructure as code. I think it's the coolest thing. I was geeking out about cloud formation, and then Tate actually was like, wait till you hear about Terraform. And then I found Terraform and I was like, I'm in love. Um, but I was like, oh, this is getting real. Like it's a few months left.
Mhm.
Um, but so I don't really know that I have an answer for like it clicks because I don't know that it did. Funny enough, my documentation did the work for me. My networking, I asked a friend to talk about me to people he knew because he knew someone with a cloud company, and he did, and it was a CEO, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty important person. And I got a 15-minute meeting with the CEO, which turned into a 2-hour breakfast with the CTO, which turned into a job. But it wasn't really even an interview. Like it was just a conversation. My documentation did most of the work. It was like, you clearly know how to do things, and you can speak to the business use case of the things you learned,
Mhm.
but then everything else is just who I was. And so I think the program and doing the work speaks for itself. Um, One of my mentors way back in the day, this is in ministry, um, talked about like readiness is deceptive, because in this case God uses people who aren't ready all the time, and they accomplish amazing things. But whether you're a believer or not, like the it's a human thing. Is you're never gonna be at the point where you're like, I'm ready, now's the time. Like you just got to start. One of my favorite quotes from an author, James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, says, um, we often wait basically for momentum, but momentum is created after you start. Action produces momentum. And that changed the game for me. And so it's just keep going. And eventually something's going to land in your lap, and you better be ready. You better have that good documentation, right?
Yeah.
Those projects, because that's what sold it.
Well, to say it perfectly too, preparation, when preparation meets opportunity, that's
Hmm.
when success can happen, right? So the way you get over your fear, your anxiety, your ability to feel ready, like Brett said, is to start and to just keep prepping. If right now a lot of people are starting, and it's good to have a goal, but you're starting with, all right, well, I'm gonna start, and if I don't land a job in 90 days, it's over. You can't do that. You have to start without the end goal in mind. You have to prep and say, I'm just going to continue to be consistent every day and get better and better and better.
Hmm.
Because when the opportunities come, then you'll be prepared. Because if you give yourself that 60 days, that 90 days, and what if you force an opportunity that you're not prepared for? Well, only if you would have just given yourself a couple more months of just preparing and not worrying about it, and the opportunity came and you could have landed, you would have just beat yourself up. Because now you force a situation to happen that you weren't ready for. And Brett said God gives you things that you're not ready for, but in hindsight, when you realize what it built you into, you're grateful for those things. You so what I'm saying is this: most life events happen. I mean, life events happen every day, right? And most of the time, life events seem to happen when you're on a goal, you're trying to chase down a goal, you're trying to reach a certain goal, whether it's like health wise, whether it's career wise, whatever the case may be. When you finally reach success or a level of success, because it's many levels, when you finally reach a goal and you, let's say you going through this and it's taking you 14 months and it's just been, oh man, it's been a hard journey. When you land that role and that salary changes your life, everything that you went through for that 14 months does not matter because you've reached what you call the pinnacle in that moment. You got what you came to get. You worked hard, you reached it. Now, guess what? It's a new level, and now it's another 14 months you're gonna go through that you're gonna like, you know what I'm saying? So, like,
Hmm.
you're always gonna have a new level of anxiety. So that level of anxiety is over. Now it's a new level. But the level that was behind you, it doesn't even matter anymore. So now it's time to just keep leveling up. And then 3, 4 years in, you could be like, man, I remember when I was at, Rocket Johnny serving hamburgers. I remember I was at, at Lowe's in the appliance department. I remember that. And I want y'all to see that right now where you are. If you're not where you want to be in tech, or if you're trying to get into tech, just look at where you want to be and just imagine how it feels. Close your eyes and just imagine how it feels when you reach that success, that level.
Hmm.
Just imagine, what would you do? How would you feel? How would you celebrate? And just tell yourself congratulations already. It's already yours.
Hmm.
God wouldn't give you the vision if he didn't want to allow you to have it. It's already yours. You just have to say, hey, I just need to become the person I need to become in order to have it.
Yep.
That job is out there, wherever it is. That life changing salary is out there. I just need to become the person I need to become. How do you become? Like, you don't become it by not facing obstacles. Because if
Yep.
you don't face obstacles, you're the same person. You have to become someone different. And in order for you to be refined into becoming something different, how does metal become refined? It has to go through the fire. And I hope that touches someone that's been just doubting themselves for a long time, because I've been doubting myself and I decided not to anymore. And even when you get into this industry, you're going to doubt yourself at times. But now you know what it takes to go through, and now you know who you need to become. And it's going to be easier and easier. So, last question for you, brother. What's one piece of advice you would give to the version of yourself right before you said yes to this?
Yeah. It's good stuff. I'd say start sooner. uh, I I said this earlier, I wanted to make a change. But I kept giving myself what I thought at the time were very good reasons why I shouldn't, or very good reasons why I was not the right person. And I loved the journey that I was on, even though it was very, very hard. Again, new dad, like going
Mm,
through some financial issues, like leaving a career that I had success in, but just wasn't, my salary wasn't meeting what I wanted. Um, I just had to make a change, and I think the only thing I would say is like start sooner. Like I said, the best time to start is yesterday, and the second best time is now. I loved what you said, brought us about the identity piece, because that was a big thing. You reminded me of it, the whole identity piece. There's a quote, I don't know who said it. We pastors are very good at quoting people and then forgetting who said it. But it was, you are what you repeatedly do.
mm,
Um, and it's true.
mm,
Um, there's something to be
mm,
said about your identity being in Christ and stuff like that, or whatever you believe in. But at the end of the day, like, why is a mechanic a mechanic? It's because they work on cars, right? Why is a teacher? My wife's a teacher. Why is she a teacher? Because she teaches, right? Why was I? Or what makes a pastor a pastor? I pastored people. What makes a cloud engineer? I engineer the cloud. And one of the coolest things that really made me excited when I joined Level Up in Tech is in some of the course material. Broadus has some lead instructors, one of whom is named Troy. And Troy walks you through how to brand yourself and how to design your LinkedIn. I was pretty new to LinkedIn, didn't really use it in ministry. It's not the thing. Um, and he said, you're going to be tempted to do this. Don't say aspiring cloud engineer. He said, you are working in the cloud on real cloud projects. You are a cloud engineer. So put that in your title. You are a cloud engineer. And man, that changed the game for me. And I did that. And so I've seen people who say aspiring cloud. It's like, if you are in the AWS, Azure, GCP, whatever environment, and you're building projects, you're not an aspiring cloud engineer. You're doing it. You might
mm.
not be very good, right? But you're doing it. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, believe in yourself.
Nah, man. The difference between the distance of where you are and where you want to be are your daily activities. The sooner you change your daily activities, the sooner you become who you want to be. And Brett said, if you're in AWS, Azure, GCP, and you're building projects, you're not an aspiring cloud engineer. You are a cloud engineer. You might not be good doing it, but you are doing the work. But here's the thing that I want to add. While you feel like you might not be good doing it, there's somebody who's working a job right now as a cloud engineer that don't even know how to do what you just did. Think about that.
Yep.
That don't know how to do what you just did. So who has more experience in that case? So don't doubt yourself. All right. And I want to make sure that y'all just whatever frame of mind you came here with, I hope we have reframed it and given you a new frame and you walking out of here with the I can do this. All right. So listen, I just want to invite you. Like if you've been listening to Brett's story, and something you is stirring, it's not a coincidence. All right. It's your sign. It's your sign to take action right now. All right. So I want to invite you to go to levelupintech.com, book a call with us. Let's see if there's a way we can help you sit in the same chair that Brett is sitting in right now, where, hey, I got a job, I'm working in cloud, I'm learning, I'm changing my life. Wherever you are right now, whether even if you're in tech and you want to move to cloud, let's see if there's a way we can help you. Because if he can do it, if I can do it, if others can do it, you can do it. If you don't want to go to the site, put LU in the chat. I'll reach out to you immediately to see if there's a way that we can help you in your journey. I just want to learn more about you. All right. So, Brett, man, thank you so much, bro, for just sharing your journey. coming here giving these gems. If this was valuable, put the gems in the chat. So I want to see the gems as well. But man, I appreciate you taking time away from your family. I heard him in the background talking about, come on, I got dinner cooked. What are you doing? I heard him. So I appreciate you once again. And if y'all want to reach out to Brett Dykes on LinkedIn, I'm sure he wouldn't mind a few extra connections. You can ask him questions about his journey, etc., or whatever you want to ask him. I'm sure he won't mind answering a few questions. Don't bombard him. Don't ask him to look at your resume and suggest what type of roles you'd be good for. Don't do none of that. All right. But the last word is, if you don't change, nothing changes. Daily activities is how you change. And Brett is a living proof of daily activities. And look at where he is now. So imagine where he's going to be a year from now. All right. So appreciate y'all for joining this live. Make sure you go to the site, levelupatech.com, or type LU in the chat. But let's continue to grow and push ourselves for 2025. All right. Love y'all. Thank you, Brett, for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate y'all. See y'all in the next one.